Welcome to ABC Interactive English. Hello everyone, I'm Karen.
And I am Mike. And today it's part 2, part B, day 2, a day at the zoo with Steve and Jane and Steve. Yes, these two friends are at the zoo. They've been checking out animals since day 1.
Like
when,
lions.
Of course, they went to see the lions. That is very, very exciting. So as we rejoin them today for part B, they're still with some of the big African animals. These are, I think they call them the big 5. When you go to Africa, people want to see lions, elephants, giraffes, hippos, and leopards maybe. Or you might put rhinos in there too. So maybe it's actually the big 6. But these are definitely very interesting animals, big animals, impressive animals, and also animals that we see in a lot of cartoons and things like that. So today, we're going to be checking out some giraffes with Steve and Jane.
I like giraffes.
I do too.
They're really, really big and tall.
Super tall, tallest animal in the world.
Exactly.
Yep. They're also really weird looking.
How are they weird looking?
Well, it's one of those animals, you see a picture and you think, oh yeah, it's a giraffe. And then you actually see one and you see how big it is, and how long its neck is, and how small its body is. It's just and it has those little horns.
Yeah.
They're just really weird, interesting, amazing animals. I mean, I love them, but it's just an animal that once you look at it a little while longer, you go, yeah. What a strange creature. I mean, I love them. Let me say that again, but they look like aliens.
Well,
because they don't look like anything else. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're so different. They don't really look like horses or deer or anything.
They're actually quite fascinating,
they are,
I would say.
Absolutely.
And then they're so tall, and then they just grab the leaves from the trees, and then they can eat their own food.
They have babies, and the babies then fall like 5 feet down to the ground. And
I heard that the babies can pretty much walk like right away,
in like 5 minutes, they're standing on their own. I mean, they're absolutely incredible. So I'm really excited that Jane and Steve are checking out the giraffes, and we're probably going to learn some very interesting facts about them. So let's get to it. Jane and Steve are at the giraffe feeding station.
Hey, the giraffe is taking the leaf from my hand. Its tongue is so long.
It's around 40 to 50 centimeters. They need that to reach the leaves on the high branches.
It's a good thing that giraffes also have long legs and necks then.
True. They wouldn't get much to eat if they only ate the grass and plants on the ground.
All right, so as we get into it, a day at the zoo. And it says Jane and Steve are at the giraffe feeding station.
I didn't know that you can feed giraffes.
That's cool. Yeah, I guess in some zoos, if you're really lucky, you can go and help to feed the animals sometimes. And I suppose this is sort of just a place where they do the feeding, the feeding station. It's not really like a bus station. Think of it more as an animal cafe or a little restaurant or something like. It's basically where they have the food and then they put the food in the place where the animals can eat it. And I guess if you're lucky or sign up or pay a little more money, you get to do this yourself. So that is pretty exciting. And it sounds like Jane is having a pretty exciting time doing exactly that.
Exactly. So Jane starts off the conversation by saying, hey, the giraffe is taking the leaf from my hand. Its tongue is so long. And that's what I heard too. I remember their tongues are also purple.
Yeah, they're a dark color. That's
exactly.
Right. Very unusual.
Long and purple. So leaf is the next word we're looking at because they eat leaves from the tree. So a leaf is part of a plant that's usually green and attached to it by a stem or stalk. For example, you could say, in the fall, the leaves of many trees turn various bright colors before falling to the ground. And it's usually very pretty, especially in Canada.
That is exactly right. Yes, and of course, giraffes have very long and, as we said, very dark-colored purple Tongues. What's your tongue? Do this, everyone. That's a tongue. And I use my tongue to talk, I use my tongue to drink and to eat, and if I'm a cat, to lick myself and clean my body. Humans shouldn't do that. Of course, your tongue is a very powerful, it's actually a muscle.
That's right.
A lot of people don't know your tongue is a muscle. And yes, giraffes' tongues are quite long. My tongue is not very long, as you can see, because I'm not a giraffe. They have to use that tongue in order to get themselves food, as Steve explains here. He says it's around 40 to 50 centimeters.
Wow.
That's quite long. They need that to reach the leaves on the high branches. Of course, they have that long neck and the long legs, but sometimes, especially when it's dry, a lot of the leaves lower down might get eaten. The giraffe can get more food up at the top. The other thing is a lot of those trees in Africa have very sharp thorns, right? Those pointy bits like on a rose that can actually make stick into you and be very painful. So they use their tongue to kind of go around all of those thorns and the branches and get as much as they can because, of course, Africa is a dry continent in many places and getting food is a challenge. So a tongue that is 40 or 50 centimeters long will definitely get you more and better food.
Exactly. So what's a centimeter? So we are talking about the tongues about 40 to 50 centimeters. That's about this long, right?
Yeah.
So a centimeter is a fairly small unit of measurement for length. And usually people have their rulers, right? So for example, you could say most of the rulers have lengths of 15 centimeters and 30 centimeters.
Yeah, exactly right. And a branch, well, earlier we heard about leaves from Karen. Leaves, of course, are part of a tree, and branches are also part of a tree. If you think of a tree being three main parts, there would be the body of the tree that sort of comes out of the ground. That's usually thick and round. That would be the trunk of the tree. And then it's kind of like the arms. That's what the branches are. They're kind of like the arms of the tree that come off the main body. And the leaves will be on the branches. So think of leaves as the fingers, the branches as the arms, and the trunk of the tree as the body of the tree. The branches, along with the trunk, will be made of wood and will be usually brown and dry and hard, whereas the leaves will be green.
Exactly. Okay, so now let's go back to the dialogue. Now, Jane says it's a good thing that giraffes also have long legs and necks then, because if they want to get the leaves from the tree, if they're not tall enough, they just have a long tongue, it doesn't really work, right?
Exactly, and they'd be eating the same leaves that the zebras and gazelles and all of the other short animals would be eating. The giraffes get better food up at the top of the tree.
Only them.
True, says Steve. They wouldn't get much to eat if they only ate the grass and plants on the ground. As we mentioned, many other animals eat that stuff, so there wouldn't be enough food for everyone. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll be back.
All right.
Yeah, elephants would get to the food first.
Don't forget hippos and rhinos.
I always see them as meat eaters.
Actually, hippos do sometimes eat meat.
All right, we are back talking about giraffes and how their long necks and tongues allow them to get food that other animals can't eat. They can get food that's high up on the tree like leaves. And as Steve was saying, yeah, many of the other animals in Africa that live around the giraffes, they get the food lower on the tree or the grass on the ground. And Jane has another good idea of an animal that needs a lot of food.
Exactly. One of the bigger animals, right?
The biggest land animal on Earth. Yes.
So now Jane says, yeah, elephants would get to the food first, right? So in order to, not starve, so it's good that giraffes are very tall with long legs and a long neck and a long tongue. Nobody would actually fight with them.
It's true. If you're ever at the buffet in front of the salad bar and there's an elephant in front of you, you should just give up. The elephant will eat all the salad, so you should go and get some sushi or something like that. And as Steve also says, don't forget hippos and rhinos. Other big animals, these are not predators, these are not hunting animals like a lion. Hippos, rhinos, even though they're kind of big and can be scary, they also eat leaves and grass and things like that. So a lot of other animals in Africa eat the same food as giraffes. Jane has an interesting point here about hippos and rhinos.
And Jane says, I always see them as meat eaters. That means, what does it mean when I say meat eaters? It just means that animals that eat meat.
Hunting animals, predators, yeah.
So eater, when I'm using this word, it just means a person or an animal that eats a particular thing or in a particular way. So for example, I could say, Jim is a picky eater. So if I describe someone as a picky eater, it just means that they just want certain types of food. Maybe he doesn't like veggies, he only likes noodle, he doesn't want to eat meat, he doesn't want to eat this, he doesn't want to eat that. Then you would probably be a picky eater.
Exactly right. We're talking about your habits in eating or what you prefer and things like that. So a meat eater, as we said, would be a predator, a hunter, like a lion or a leopard or a tiger or a shark. Actually, Steve says, hippos do sometimes eat meat. That's very interesting. Hippos spend most of their time in the rivers and lakes of Africa. So mostly they're eating, grass and seaweed and, that kind of thing, river weeds that they would find. But apparently they also eat meat. Oh, the other thing about hippos is they're very angry all the time. Hippos kill more people in Africa than lions do. Mainly because they just don't like you, and if you bother them, they will run at you, and it will be like getting hit by a car.
So when I first learned about that fact, I was actually quite surprised.
Is that interesting?
Because when I look at hippos, usually I would say, oh, they're so cute. They're usually cute in cartoons, but actually they can be pretty scary.
And that could be part of the problem. People see a real hippo and they think it's a cartoon hippo, but yeah, their personalities are not so friendly. So if you're ever near a hippo in real life, stay away. And they can also be very fast.
That's right.
Even though they're big, they can run much faster than you can. So just leave the hippos alone. All right, guys, that's all the time we have today. And tomorrow we'll be back with some of everyone's favorite animals, including, yes, the Koala, the koala. We'll see you then.
See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Jane and Steve are at the giraffe feeding station.
Hey, the giraffe is taking the leaf from my hand. Its tongue is so long.
It's around 40 to 50 centimeters. They need that to reach the leaves on the high branches.
It's a good thing that giraffes also have long legs and necks then.
True. They wouldn't get much to eat if they only ate the grass and plants on the ground.
Yeah, elephants would get to the food first.
Don't forget hippos and rhinos.
I always see them as meat eaters.
Actually, hippos do sometimes eat meat.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 leaf 名词，叶子，它的复数是 leaves。Some leaves fell from the tree. 一些叶子从树上掉了下来。下一个单字 tongue 名词，舌头。Peter burned his tongue on the hot soup. Peter 喝热汤时烫伤了舌头。下一个单字 centimeter 名词，公分。The table is 120 centimeters long. 这张桌子长120公分。 最后一个单字 branch 名词树枝。A bird was sitting on the branch of the tree. 一只鸟正停在树枝上。接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 take A from B 从 B 拿取 A。我们来看看这个例句。Tom took a book from the shelf. Tom 从书架上拿了一本书。下一个文法 It's a good thing that 加主词加动词，幸好怎么样？这里的 that 可以省略哦。我们来看看这个例句。It's a good thing that we left early, or we will have missed the train. 幸好我们提早离开，要不然我们就会错过火车了。最后一个文法 get to 加名词，抵达某物的所在地或某地。我们来看看这个例句。We finally got to the airport. 我们终于抵达机场了。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，回去记得复习哦。我们下一课再见，拜拜。
Hey, it's Kiwi on the street.
I'm Kiki.
And I'm Winnie.
Winnie, yesterday I was texting someone and I think they were talking to me about babies because they were typing something and they said BBS and I have no idea what that means.
Well, Kiki, it says, I'm going to the supermarket, aisle BBS. Be back soon. It's an abbreviation.
Oh, okay. Looks like it's time to brush up on some abbreviations.
Let's work on some abbreviations. Our first one is PIC. What could that be?
Picture.
A person in charge.
I see. It's for picture or
Yeah.
picnic. No, is it?
Picture. Picnic. Picture.
Oh,
Ding, ding, ding. Picture. Please send me that pic, okay? All right, the next one. PPL.
People.
PPL, people.
I don't know. Is it people?
Very good, people. Okay. TY.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I give you a present, you say...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you. Okay, what did we learn today?
Let's work on some abbreviations. Our first one is PIC. Picture. Picture. So for example, you could say, can you help me take a picture? Or if we use another way of saying PIC, we also have person in charge. Person in charge. So that means someone who is the boss or the manager or someone who calls the shots at an office or a school. So you could say, who is the person in charge at this office? Next, we have PPL. People. People. So for example, you could say, how many people are in this room? And last but not least, we have TY. Thank you. Thank you. So you could say, thank you for the perfect gift. That's all we have for today. Kiwi later.